Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, as usual, before I begin with this lesson, I want to start it off by giving all the glory and infinite praise to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakah HaKadosh, thereby and say the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who I'm taught and learn this truth 100% from. Peace and blessings be to all you Aku, Wak, that are serving Yahweh Shema Shine sincerity, hoping for mercy and salvation in these last days, man. To you, I say Shalom and Yahweh Shema Shai Barakathon. So I believe I'm entitled this lesson, put things in perspective. We will indeed need Yahweh Shema Shai. Put things in perspective. We will indeed need Yahweh Shema Shai. And I was meditating on this video that the brother had brought out, and that you see, what he titled this lesson, Dire Straits on the Horizon, Trump will indeed invoke this act. And this act that the brother's referring to is the Insurrection Act. Where, the government will basically allow the military to take over, and have complete control over, the citizens of that nation, and, basically set shit in order. In other words, martial law, Jacob's trouble, and with that being Jacob's trouble, that means that brothers' faith is going to be tested. Brothers is going to be put in, hella uncomfortable situations. Brothers is going to be put in some dangerous ass situations, to where the only way that you even escape, you even have a chance of escaping, as if Yahweh Shema Shai intervenes, man. The Lord gonna have to intervene in God, brothers' steps during that time, because it's gonna be shit happening all across these cities, man. These cities is gonna be, these cities, especially these big ones, Dallas, San Diego, Los Angeles, and Phoenix, all them big major cities. Shit gonna be crazy in them big cities, man. Shit gonna be crazy everywhere. This gonna be a dog eat world out here, man. So when you actually put it in perspective, brothers got kids. I myself, I got a son. Right, I got a rib. You know what I mean? We got weaker vessels, walking with us on our walk. You know what I mean? We got children. You got brothers that's gonna have newborn babies being born around that time when shit hit the fan. Brothers is gonna have, ribs that's pregnant, 7-8 months pregnant. And the scriptures say that, we're gonna be like pilgrims upon the earth, man. Imagine being on the move 24/7. And you got this woman big as hell, she pregnant. She on the verge of, where she damn near finna, give birth, man, and you on the move. All right. Don't know where your next meal gonna come from. Don't know where you probably gonna lay your head at for the night. Ain't no telling, man. It's gonna take the Lord to intervene, man, and to guide our stuff and guide our steps. And also another thing too, it's a lot more people out here, that's into, wicked shit behind closed doors than what, most people even know. Right? You got people out here with, a legion of demons on them. Probably got dozens of legions on them. And they just waiting for that one opportunity they can get to where they ain't gotta hide no more. Right? Where they can come out of the closet and not have to worry about being locked away forever because, they got this weird ass fetish they want to get off or something. Or where they have this craving where they wanna, dismember some shit or, do some weird shit like Ed Gein or something. It's a lot more people out here like that than what people know. People out here, that's locked away in these prisons, they may fuck around and break loose because they killed a guard or something. There ain't no telling. All right. But we do know that Jacob's trouble is going to be like a time that you can grab whatever you think was considered a major atrocity, a tragic, event, staple throughout history. You can combine all those, and they basically, they can't compete with this time that we're living in now, man. All right, this is the worst time in history. All right, so with that being said, brothers is gonna need the Lord to guide their steps, man, in this time, man. All right, because if you don't, or if he doesn't, Salaki, if he doesn't, then we would end up like a 2/3 Jake, because the Lord is gonna be purposely guiding Jake that's not of the elect into right into an alley of pit bulls and shit. Into an alley of people with bats with bats with spikes on them and shit. You know what I'm saying? All right, guiding them to a group of cannibals that's like when you see the movie The Road, man. Imagine that. You put in a situation like that. You know what I mean? Where you got your child with you and you got, cannibal gangs after you and shit. You know what I mean? It's going to take the Lord to intervene, man. Baby screaming and shit. The troops trying to find out where you at. Hey, it's going to take the Lord to intervene, man, for them not to find you. All right. So the first scripture I want to grab is the book of Psalms 91 and verse 7. And it reads, 1,000 shall fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. All right, because it's a scripture I'm finna grab here in a second, Lord willing, where it say that the fear and the sword of the enemy is on every side, man. All right, and that ain't just going into martial law troops. That can go into, the regular average Joe out here, because most of these people that you see, they gonna go into a primal state, especially the men. All right, you got the men out here that's, acting like they full of estrogen, and shit like that. Wait until they get put in desperate ass situations. They gonna start doing some primal shit. All right. So you gonna have people out here dropping by the tons. I said tons like it. Hey, dropping by the thousands, man. You know what I mean? When you read in the book of Nahum, the 3rd chapter, it says that, it's gonna be so many dead corpses out here. So many corpses out here in the streets of these cities that, you gonna have to stumble on them and shit. It may be a path that you have to take to get to somewhere that you need to go, where you have to just walk through a bunch of dead bodies and shit. There's no telling. All right, you gonna have brothers that's gonna be stuck in the city. All right, that's gonna be some brothers' lot. You're gonna have some brothers that's gonna be in the wilderness. You're gonna have some brothers that's gonna be in these cities. You're gonna have some brothers that fuck around, find a bunker, and they cooling for a minute. You know what I mean? You're gonna have some brothers that gotta, take that, that real leap of faith and take that guillotine, and you're gonna have some brothers that, just be going through what they going through out here. All right. But as the Lord said, it shall not come nigh thee. All right. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. The Lord is going to give the angels charge over us. All right, and when you go into the etymology for the word charge, it basically goes into like instruction, right, or authority. All right, and the Most High said that during this time that he was going to raise up Michael the archangel to basically defend Jerusalem, to defend the elect, man. All right, that ain't never happened, ever. All right, there's never been a time of trouble where, Jake has been protected by Michael the archangel, man. All right, that's referring to this time that we're living in now, because this shit is gonna be that bad. All right, it's gonna be a lot more worse than what we probably even expected to. All right, and it's not even like brothers is taking Jacob's trouble in a light fashion. And we know. All right, we know that. I was just talking to one of the brothers I camped with earlier, and we was talking about how, we want to, make sure we doing what we doing for the Lord, because, we don't want to get caught up, in the, the dangers in this time, huh? Starving and shit. And, we want to be, a part of that number where the Lord said, then shall that be known who are my chosen, man. We want to be out here taken care of. You know what I'm saying? Able to keep up with hygiene and being fed, and, brothers is able to feed they your lives, they children, and, you know what I mean? Brothers got miracles being provided for them, and, you know what I mean? Like, we want to be a part, you know what I'm saying? We want to be those Jakes that, have that type of luxury, because that's going to be a luxury, man. Having this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and having the Lord on your side in that time, man. All right, everybody gonna wish that they had the Lord on their side, man. Once Jake start going through it, man, they gonna wish that they did what we was doing, man. They gonna wish that they was out there on them highways and byways, teaching this truth. They gonna wish that they would have, learned the names of Yahweh Shema Shai. They gonna wish they would have did everything that we doing. All right. But it says, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. All right. And keep, this is the same keep when you read in the book of Revelations. I think it's the 2nd chapter. All right. Where the Lord said that, he would keep thee in the hour of temptation. It basically means protect. Right. He would guide you. All right. And the Lord is going to guide us by, sowing in our inward parts, where to go, our next moves, and, you know what I mean, things of that nature. Being in the spirit of King David, praying to Yahweh Shema Shai, like, praying to the Lord before you make your move and shit. All right, because when we in the climax of Jacob's trouble, it can be one wrong move, and you get grabbed up or something. You know what I mean? Now, of course, if you're part of the elect, you're gonna be taken care of no matter what. All right, but the point being is that the Lord is going to be the one having to, maneuver us through these cities and in and out of danger and shit, man. All right. Brothers are going to have to get that spiritual power, because you may be surrounded by troops and they got, red beams pointed on you and your family and shit. And maybe actually finna pull that trigger, and they may let the rounds loose on you. Y'all all covered up and huddled up because y'all thinking that that's the end all be all. And y'all, you start calling on the names of Yahweh Shema Shai, and them bullets, they do like that Project Power shit where they start like disintegrating. They start dissolving in the air because the Lord got a type of, aura or bubble around you that basically melts the motherfuckers, man. All right. As crazy as it sounds, the Lord is gonna have the Lord is gonna have to provide them type of miracles, man. Right, and this is why this takes a special type of faith to even believe in, because you tell Jake this, Jake think that shit, Jake ain't got that type of faith, man. Right, Jake think that that's Hollywood, man. When everything comes from the inspiration of something. All right, brothers is gonna be out here getting looked out for, man. All right. Verse 12, it says, they shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. So, brother steps is going to be guided, where you ain't going, you ain't going to run into a situation where, you get your arm chopped off or some shit. You know what I mean? You're not even going to dash your foot against a stone, man. All right, the Lord is going to protect you and guide you, all throughout your walk, man. All right, you got brothers that's not even gonna get touched. All right, just be on the run the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet, because he hath set his love upon me. Therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. As I was saying, brothers may be, huddled up with their family. They just start calling on the names of Yahweh Shem outside. And the Lord rise you up, because he has said, and I think it's, Isaiah 49, I believe. All right, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, I will lift up a standard against them. When you look up the definition of standard, it's to catch flight, take flight, or put to flight. The Lord may just give you power to. The Lord may just have an angel teleport you like how he did with Habakkuk to a remote island or some shit. You know what I mean? And that remote island got all type of fruit on it to where you good. You kicking it until Yahweh shall come back. All right, or the Lord may just teleport you and your family to somewhere else where another brother at or something, another brother and his family, and y'all on a journey in Jacob's trouble together or some shit. All right, these are the type of things that you got to keep in mind, man. Right, and put in perspective how much the Lord is gonna have to intervene for brothers, man. All right, because the walk ain't gonna be cake. Brothers is gonna be tried, man. All right, because one thing that you gotta consider, to think about is that in order for the Lord to provide for you, he got to try you first. He got to make sure that you gonna do what you said that you was gonna do. All right, because right now, we talking and talking, yeah, we walking it as well, but that ultimate, walk is gonna be during the time of Jacob's trouble, man, where your faith is really gonna be proven, man, and shit gonna be scary too. All right, your flesh gonna hit you a little bit, your spirit gonna have to take over, man. All right, and I say your flesh gonna hit you a little bit because shit gonna be that bad out here. Imagine you seeing, and brothers can sit here and say that, they wouldn't feel no type of way if they seen somebody getting their head chopped off, until you see a motherfucker actually getting their head chopped off, and they making all type of noises when they getting it chopped off. You know what I'm saying? You hearing ligaments and tendons popping. They choking on their blood and shit, and you know what I mean? It's gonna be some nasty stuff going on. You seeing people out here with legs blown off and chopped off and shit, and it stank because there's so much death out here. You know what I mean? You seeing shit decay, bones, and you know what I mean? It's gonna be a scary sight. You're gonna see people out here looking like maniacs. You're gonna have Edomites out here with dreadlocks and with freeform dreadlocks because they ain't taking care of themselves out here looking crazy as hell, being cannibals, man. All right. Verse 15, he shall call upon me and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him with long life while I satisfy him and show him my salvation. And that's the ultimate goal, man. All right. We hope and beg to be, a part of that number that's predestined. All right. We hope to be a part of those that's predestined to be a part of that number, man. All right. Because we understand that, and that's a part of the bitterness too. Brothers get hit with that doubt demon, and you just hope that the Lord, sups with you in that time, and that the Lord is taking care of you in that time, man. Because a part of that bitterness is knowing how bad this shit is gonna be, and knowing that, hey, if the Lord don't got you, then you ain't gonna have no chance, man. All right, but as long as we keep our hands on the plow, we keep doing the right thing, keep doing what we doing, then the Lord is going to take care of us, man. That's why he has said in Matthew 24, blessed are those, when I return, shall find so, doing the will of the Lord, roughly paraphrasing, and you got to make sure that you got your house cleaned up, when your house shall start, really amping this shit up, man. All right, because you're going to have those that's going to come looking for that oil, and, you ain't going to get it. All right, that's why you got to make sure your lamp full, man. Make sure your lamp full so that when this shit get dark, you got the light. You got the light to maneuver. You know what I mean? You got the light to maneuver through, whatever troubles it is, man. So I believe I'm gonna grab I think I got one more scripture. Let's go to the book of 2 Corinthians. Chapter 4 and verse Alright, we're gonna start at 8. Just get to the point. It says, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, cast down, but not destroyed, always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Yahushua, that the life also Yahushua might be made manifest in our body. All right, and you gotta think about all the shit that Paul and the disciples that went through. All right, you had Paul. Paul that got stoned. Paul was shipwrecked and all that, and he was, even though Paul had got stoned, it's not like he had felt that pain. Right? If I ain't mistaken, and I think I am, wrong on it, but Paul, I think he had seen, matter of fact, Paul did see a vision of the kingdom. All right, he seen a vision of the kingdom as he was getting stoned. So you gotta, like I say, put that in, put that in perspective. Paul wasn't, he didn't feel no pain. He was basically having an out of body experience, vision in the kingdom, man. Right, that's what the Lord had opened him up to, and the Lord had basically redeemed him from being stoned. Right after he was stoned and shit, he ain't go back to the spirit world, man. All right, he was shipwrecked. He was delivered from that. All right, and you can even go into other different accounts with other prophets like Daniel, Jonah, Abraham. The things that the Lord was doing for Jake in the wilderness. You can grab all them miracles. You can grab all them testimonies, man. The Lord ain't never forsaken, his chosen, man. All right, the Lord ain't never forsaken those that put their trust in him and actually serve him, man. All right. So the point, verse 8, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed, man. All right. Brothers is going to be going through some things out here. All right. But the Lord is going to protect us and come through every time, man. All right. But that's the type of faith that you're going to have to step out on. All right. I'm going to grab Proverbs 16 and 9, and then I'm going to close it out. Jake a little tired, man. This is Proverbs 16 and 9, and it reads, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directed his steps. All right, and brothers can plan, and say what they gonna do or what they think that they gonna do when shit hit the fan. You got brothers that may think that they gonna go to the wilderness. You got brothers that, think that they gonna, do whatever. That they gonna meet up with this brother, if shit goes sour and, you know what I'm saying? Right, but at the end of the day, the Most High is gonna be the ones directing brothers, throughout they walk, man. All right, this is why even when it comes to having bug out bags and shit like that, which is I ain't against it. If a brother wanna have something on deck, just in case it can, you never know, it can come in handy. All right, but we not too keen on having certain things to basically lean back on like that, because we understand that this shit can happen at an instant. This shit can happen at a sudden. You can be at work and not even have access to whatever it is that you thought that you was gonna use in that time, huh? Fire starters or whatever the fuck. You may be way across town and can't even get to that shit. You know what I'm saying? All right. The only thing that you're gonna be able to lean on is your faith and trust in Yahweh Shema Shah, man. All right. So you may think that you're going to do something, but at the end of the day, it's going to take the Lord to guide our steps, man. All right. And that's what me personally, that's what I fully rely on, man. I wouldn't even want to trust my own fleshly self to maneuver, you know, when in danger like that. Right, not saying that I couldn't, but I wouldn't even want to chance that. You know, I'd rather the Lord, completely give me the spirit to, you know, get my ass in and out the way, man. So, you know, with that being said, I don't ratazah. You know, this lesson was edifying in that, you know, I did make some points for you brothers and sisters, man. So with that being said, Shalom, Yahabah Shema Shabbarakathum, and Abba Shalom.